Merry Bucket Christmas! Welcome to Buckets. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. Happy holidays to you and yours. Today's show is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. This is your Christmas extravaganza. We always do this every year. We get all of our contributors on to give you best bets for the awesome NBA slate. And this year, it's especially great because the NFL slate sucks. So you're going to want to come watch the NBA games. You're going to want to put those games. It's a great opportunity. We got lots of best bets lined up for you. Tonight, you're going to hear bets from Kyle Murray, Joe Dellera, a.k.a. Santa, if you're watching at youtube.com/The Action Network. Joe in a full-on Santa hat and beard. Sean Little at Chicago Flow. He's rocking the lights on his necklace right now. We are also going to have bets from Brandon Kravitz, Michael Fiddle, and to close the show, Bryan Fonseca is going to take us home. Hope you guys are having a safe, healthy, and very happy holiday season. Glad to have you guys with us. We have 5 games on the NBA slate, and we will break it all down for you. We will give you in-depth guides to every single game. We will have bets on every single game. We have a parlay that crosses all 5 games. Our Christmas miracle NBA parlay brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. We're very excited for all of that. We're going to get to best bets. No dilly-dally, no messing around, except for we do have to tell you one thing right now. The Buckets podcast is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. And in partnership with DraftKings, our listeners get a great offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports and have a shot to win cash prizes. To get started, use promo code BUCKETSNBA when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code BUCKETSNBA when signing up and bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. All right, the crown is yours and the best bets are also yours. We are going to hit every game, and we're going to start with our 3-star, our 2-stars, and our 1-stars. We will do our 3 stars first. Joining me right now, I've got Kyle Murray at KMurDFS from Roto Grinders. He hits so many sports and gives you great projections every single day. Check out his work at Roto Grinders. We got Joe Dellera from the Cash That podcast at Joe Dellera. Dressed as Santa. I mean, the glasses work with it. It's like the full gear. It's now go to youtube.com/The Action Network and check out Joe's outfit. Sean Little also with us at Chicago Flow. All right, let's start with Sean Little. I want to know what your 3-star best bet is on the night. Sean Little.
Yeah, Christmas Day. Enjoyed the time. Looking forward to watching ball. Spurs Thunder under 233.5 is my 3-star bet for Christmas. Am I giving the cat?
Go for it. Let's go.
Third matchup in 2 weeks. Right before we hopped on, we just watched the Thunder get dusted off, essentially. 130-110. They lost by 20 in San Antonio to these guys. We know what happened in Vegas in that NBA Cup semifinal, 111-109. I was in the building. That's when I really learned how real deal that Spurs backcourt is defensively. I think the game looks a lot closer to the style of defense first, like it did in that semifinal game. And the Thunder just flat out have to show up in this spot. The guys have 3 losses on the year. 2 of them are to the San Antonio Spurs. These guys give them real deal problems. It was a sloppy ass game from the jump for Oklahoma City and San Antonio. They had 15 turnovers in that 20-point blowout tonight. Jalen Williams wants nothing to do with seeing the Spurs. He's a combined minus 29 over the 2 matchups, 13 of 34 from the floor. We know the Chet Wemby dynamic as well. Overall, I think losing both of these games, now you get to play them in essentially that duplex spot with a day off in between going back home. They are going to show up, and I think it's going to be defense first. They're going to try to play their game and turn them over. And I don't think there's any way, shape, or form the Spurs score anywhere close to 130 in Oklahoma City on Christmas Day. On the same token, though, it's clear the Oklahoma City Thunder have a lot of trouble with the Spurs and how they match up with them. So overall, I just think it's a lower scoring game than the game we just saw in San Antonio. I think it's closer to the semifinal we saw in Las Vegas. This game, I think this 233.5 number is almost 6 or 7 points too high. I like this number a lot. I'm going to go under 233.5 Spurs Thunder in a game that the Thunder are absolutely going to win. And I think they just suffocate the Spurs, and the Spurs do continue to do well in slowing up the Thunder offensively. Everyone outside of SGA essentially has had trouble on the offensive side for the Oklahoma City Thunder when they see the Spurs. So I like the under in this matchup.
I will co-sign. I've got this projected under at 229. So anything south or anything north of 230, I like this. OKC's half-court offense just really has a problem with this team. And in particular, I think part of it is that the Spurs were able to get downhill on them with their speed, and that causes a lot of problems because they're also trying to guard Wemby. So it's like this matchup problem really gives them issues. You're going to hear more about the Spurs on Sunday's Future Jay's episode with Jim and Joe, because I have some thoughts I'm dying to share about kind of the Spurs from a long-term perspective, but I like this play a lot from Sean Little's strong cap to start us off with. Kyle Murray, tell me about your 3-star best bet.
Yeah, I'm going Steph Curry here over 32.5 points and rebounds. He was one of very few players who weren't on the floor tonight. Obviously 12 games in the NBA tonight. So, the majority of the league there, but Steph had the night off. So he's going to have Christmas Eve off, and then he'll be back on a few days rest. So I obviously like that for Steph Curry, but also like this spot here against the Mavs. When you look at how they set up in terms of what they're allowing, they actually do allow a lot of points in the paint, but Steph Curry sneakily second in points in the paint for this Warriors team. Obviously, we know he can get hot from three as well. Also, a very good rebounding matchup, especially to guards here, as the Mavericks allow some of the most rebound chances per game to opposing wings and guards in the NBA. So I do like this spot for him. He has 5+ rebounds against this Mavericks team dating back to last year in 5 of those 6 games. So I think he has some rebounding upside as well as some scoring upside. We've seen him go for 30+ points in 2 of the last 3 Christmas days. Not necessarily a number I'm super looking into when looking for props here, but a little bit of added context for the Christmas Day slate, which is usually a unique experience for players and what you can see for some of these games coming up here on this one. So Steph Curry projects well in this one. I like the matchup for him. And then some of the trends as well that I've been looking at, not only for this matchup, but for Christmas Day as well. So like I mentioned, having projected for about 30.5 points and about 5.5 rebounds in this one.
Do you have the matchups, or do you have the trends that you were talking about handy? Do you have them with you?
Yeah, the trends I was mentioning was just him scoring 30+ points on 2 of the last 3 Christmas days, and then the rebounding stats here against Dallas, 5+ rebounds in 5 of the last 6. So a little bit of obviously we know Steph brings a scoring upside every single night, but I think he does have a little bit of rebounding upside as well in this matchup against the Mavs, and he has 9+ rebounds in 2 of his last 3 games. So he's been getting active on the glass as well.
So I'm looking at the Mavericks defensive profile, and they don't allow a lot of off-screen plays, but when they do, they tend to allow a lot of pretty good looks. And same is true for handoffs. Like, their efficiency goes way down in those kind of mechanisms, which is good. Like, they're well built to guard. What they want to guard is they want to guard pick and roll and kicks. Well, the Warriors don't really do that. It's motion offense, so that's entirely different. So I can see where this play gets home here. I guess my only tactical question is, like, Max Christie is probably their best perimeter defender. Would we agree with that? Probably. And he's probably back for this game. I would imagine, like, with him being, he's probably available for this game. So it makes me a little bit nervous just having Max Christie coming over screens to defend him, but also, like, it's Steph. Like, it's Steph. Steph on Christmas is also a bet you want to make. Like, it will be a lot of fun to sweat Steph Curry overs on Christmas. Yeah. So I am down with this very jolly play from Kyle Murray. Joe Dellera, what's your 3-star?
I'm looking at Anthony Davis, so I'm going to be in that same game. I'm looking at over 35.5 points plus rebounds. It's a number he's hit in 8 of 15 games this season, so not like a ton of sample size here, but I do like the matchup against the Golden State Warriors. I think that the Warriors are obviously like a little bit undersized generally. I think that AD kind of excels in these matchups where he can be where he can play bully ball, where there isn't somebody that's really going to like push back against him. Obviously Draymond will, but Draymond also is not nearly as big as Anthony Davis is. So I think that when we look at this from a overall perspective, when AD has played like meaningful minutes against them over the past couple of seasons, 49, 42, and 42 PR. So I think it's a great spot for him. And I like the fact that, obviously he gets a day off before, gets a little bit of an opportunity to rest up. And I can see him really crushing this number against the Warriors. So I'm going to grab the over 35.5 points plus rebounds.
What's funny is I like the under in this game because it's the Dallas Mavericks and they shouldn't be able to score, even though they lit up the Denver Nuggets tonight because the Denver's defense was terrific. Not that I'm mad about it. But it's wonder if there's kind of an opportunity here for like a counter correlated play here where it's like Davis has a big game, Steph has a big game, but nobody else has anything. Because this does feel like an ugly game to me, just with the play styles of both teams. I kind of wonder if there's maybe some value to play on that. Yeah, I mean, look, is Draymond going to play the full game or is he going to throw a hissy fit and go sit down for a while? That's probably going to impact this number, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, you really just never know with Draymond. That was kind of crazy what happened. Like, I've never seen anything like that. So we shall see. But maybe Clay gets under his skin a little bit and they eject each other, and then that's just a benefit for the Mavericks, no matter how you cut it.
There you go. Maybe that's how we.
They said, "Hey, Steve, was Draymond going to go back in?" He's like, "He's not going back in." That's all he said. It's like he was not going back in.
Not going in.
Yeah, he's like, that was over.
Okay, so my 3-star play is going to be should not be a surprise to anybody who has paid attention to my caps this year, and it is going to be Rockets Lakers over 228.5. So let's just start right here on the projection because I make this laughably above this number in particular. I have this projected at 243.9. Like I have it projected 14 points higher than where we're at currently in the market. I don't know really why this would be an under spot at all. The Lakers have been a great over team at home. The Rockets are the number 2 over team on the road. The Rockets are in LA for a 2 games and 3 night set versus both the LA teams. That's a little concerning because the Rockets might be hungover on Christmas Day. That's very possible that they go out and enjoy the holiday a little bit too much on Saturday night. But at the same time, I still think that this is an over spot because I think if they are sluggish, they're going to be sluggish on the defensive end. The Rockets surprisingly have been absolutely awesome offensively. Like they are, I think, a little bit actually ahead of where they want to be offensively versus defensively. They're 3rd in offense, 5th in defense right now. Like that's just the reality is like their offense has been absolutely elite. They have the number 3 offense in the NBA. They've been incredible. And they match up really well with this Lakers team with their ability, single big, quite honestly, with the Lakers, with DeAndre Ayton. And any minute where Ayton's not on the floor, they're going to dominate the rebounding battle. And that only boosts their offensive efficiency. Like that's how they score. There are a number of trends that back this up as well, as far as like the spot and how these two teams kind of match up. Based off of things like offensive rebounding, percentages of points in the paint. The Lakers don't do well versus teams that average a lot of points in the paint. That's been a struggle area for them this season. Also, the other thing I would say is the Lakers, this is a pace disadvantage game, so the Rockets play faster than them. When the opponent plays faster than the Lakers, the over has been dynamite this season because if you speed up, the Lakers will run with you. Like that's been kind of the trend that has happened is when there's any sort of like over kind of element here of a pace perspective, the Lakers will just kind of, they'll run and gun and shoot with you. That's the type of game that they want to play. So I think this is a ridiculous number at 228.5. I love the over Rockets Lakers 228.5. Shout out from our comments over at youtube.com/the Action Network because, one of our users actually noted this, which I think is great. It's Buckets NBA. Commented that NBA champions are 12-12 on the money line on the same year as Christmas since '99. So I wanted the Thunder, and I'm like backing perilously away from that now, based off of the results tonight, where I'm like, the Spurs just like I'm probably gonna bet Thunder because I'm like, you can't beat OKC 3 times straight. Come on, like nobody's beaten OKC 3 times straight. But I am really interested to see kind of what happens. Let's go back to Sean and get your 2-star and your 1-star plays, buddy.
Yeah, 2-star. I'm with you on the Lakers Rockets over 228.5. I don't understand the number. this is a flat out over spot in every sense of the spot. This Lakers defense, guys, is one of the worst units I've seen in quite a while. Every time I'm on buckets, I remind everyone how poor this squad is, especially with LeBron James on the floor. If you watched, but I was watching Lakers Suns before we hopped on here. The Suns were doing whatever they wanted offensively against this squad. I know Luka's not on the floor. I get that. And more offense they have to deal with would maybe help them a little bit on defense. But in totality, the defensive, the prowess and the want on the Lakers side it's really, really, really bad. Moore mentioned it. Games at Staples are just flying over the total every single game. 11-0 to the over. 244, the average points scored at Staples. The Rockets defensively, another thing that Matt mentioned, I'll go into a little bit more depth, have been poor the last few weeks. They've been an offensive squad first, defense second, and by a wide margin second. Over the last 6 games, the Rockets are 5-1 in the over. The last 7 road games for the Rockets, they're 2-5 straight up, and their defensive rating is 117.6. That's 22nd in the NBA. This is an offensive matchup on Christmas from both sides of the floor, Lakers and Rockets. The Rockets, another big thing here is Luka, right? Like calf contusion. My hunch is that he goes. He took the night off or missed the game tonight versus Phoenix. He has a night off in between. Then I think he'll be back for Christmas. If he goes, Reeves is now back in the fold. They got the 3-headed offensive monster, of course, with LeBron. They don't play defense, and Houston is not playing defense. And I don't think a lot of the public bettors and a lot of people are realizing how poor they've been defensively. So this is a dead ass over spot for me. Lakers Rockets over 228.5.
Like it. I like it very much. Now tell me about this last one, because we get a lot of folks on this play, and I'm having to be talked into it.
Yeah, I mean the two totals are my favorites by a wide margin, and
Sam is very excited for this 1-star play.
since I have to have a 1-star, who doesn't want to sweat the first game on Christmas Day at Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena? I to be completely honest, I don't love the spot for the Knicks, but the Cavs have been so bad, and I have no reason to think that this would be a spot against a fully loaded Knicks team with Brunson back on the floor that they would be. This isn't a spot where I expect them to suddenly improve. But 5.5, it's gonna end up getting to 6 is my guess. 2 full possessions is a big number. 1-star play. I'll back the Knicks on a first game sweat, but my money will be on those 2 totals I gave out earlier.
All right, Kyle Murray. Let's get this some 2-star and some 1-stars, buddy.
Yeah, my second one is maybe out of a little bit of stubbornness, but I'm taking Chet Holmgren over 16.5 points. Had that play for tonight. That did not end up all that great, but expecting a little bit more success from this team in general. Obviously, we've kind of spoke about that as the show's gone on. He obviously projected well for tonight's game, and I have him projecting well for this home game against the Spurs on Christmas Day. I have him for 18.8 points in this spot. I always tend to think that there's a little bit more added minute ceiling for guys like Chet on a Christmas Day type slate. Obviously if the game stays close, I think that the team is a little bit more likely to get him some extra minutes here, especially for a guy who you're typically not expecting a super high ceiling. So even with a median projection of 29 minutes, he projects for about 18.8 like I mentioned, but I think that there's a chance he plays 31, 32 minutes in a game that stays close here. So like the over once again here on Chet, 16.5 points. And then my 1-star play, a little bit of a long shot here, taking Dante DiVincenzo 25 plus at 10-1. Also like him at 20 plus if you wanted to take that one at plus 340, plus 350 around the markets there. But it's a good matchup for DiVincenzo, in my opinion. Obviously, we saw the Nuggets struggle defensively in this game tonight. But I think that, in terms of what they do defensively, allowing a lot of 3-point attempts so far this season, DiVincenzo is a guy who can easily get hot from 3 and heat up, make 4 or 5 threes and have a potentially big performance. So at 10-1, 25 plus for DiVincenzo was projecting pretty well for me.
How does the matchup with Chet kind of adjust, or with Wemby kind of adjust into, like, how much do you think about that when you're making any sort of adjustments to I mean, you're not probably going to make an adjustment to the number, but when you're considering whether to play it or not.
Yeah, I mean, so the way that I've been sort of factoring it in over the past couple of weeks, or I guess since he returned in the NBA Cup game, it's actually somewhat of a boost for the typical matchup here for the Spurs, because not only is Chet going to be able to avoid him in terms of where he's playing his minutes, but with Wemby coming off the bench, Chet's going to be having those first 6, 7, 8 minutes not matching up against Wemby, and then obviously with Wemby just being limited from a minutes perspective, playing 23, 24 minutes. So it's actually been, it hasn't worked out for me yet, but the way I'm grading it and capping it is it's actually a typical upgrade based on the normal Spurs matchup. It's still not not necessarily a fantastic matchup as a whole, but it's an upgrade based on these bigs, just because of the fact of not only the decrease in 1B minutes, but where he's getting those minutes compared to the stars on the other side. So obviously he's going to match up with them a little bit more in the second half, but in the first half, especially in that first stint, I think there's a chance for these guys to get after maybe some points early for Chet Holmgren.
If word comes out that he's going to start, does that change this?
Yeah, I mean, he would probably still project for the over for me, but I would probably like it less.
Okay.
So yeah,
might be worth a wait on this number.
Yeah,
especially given tonight's results with the only 7 points and three boards. Probably worth a wait, and then you can buy a lower spot on him. Joe Dellera, your 2 and your 1 stars.
So I'm going to be on Tari Eason over 11.5 points plus rebounds for my 2-star, and for my 1-star, I'm looking at the Knicks minus 5.5. For Tari Eason, I think this line is just low. He's coming back from injury and kind of getting ramped back up a little bit. And looking at his minutes, he played 16 minutes on the 21st. Today, he's already at 11 minutes at halftime. I think he's going to be closer to like the 20 to like 22 minute range in this particular matchup against the Lakers. Plus, I think it's also a good matchup against LA. I think that his ability to not only score in transition and also stretch the floor to a degree by shooting from beyond the arc is going to be invaluable in this matchup. So I like that, and I think that overall, this is one of those lines that's priced poorly because they basically just superimpose the line from today's games onto the Christmas Day games. And it didn't really account for the fact that there's probably going to be a natural ramp up in minutes that we hadn't seen, or we're kind of currently seeing in this current game against the Clippers. So I want to get on this one early and bet it right away before, he suddenly plays like 20 to 22 minutes tonight. And then everybody goes, oh, well, like that's going to wildly skew the projection for Christmas Day. So I think it's a great one to get in on early rather than later. So that's my play for Tari Eason over 11.5 points plus rebounds. Don't have any issue with 12.5 either, if that's how you got to go. And then for the Knicks, this is really a play based on the perception of both these teams. The Knicks are obviously the best team in the NBA without any question. But they actually are one of the best teams in the NBA at home. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, they are literally the worst team in the NBA against the spread. They have been horrific against the spread overall this season. They haven't been particularly good on the road either. So I think when you kind of combine these two things, I understand that there's some trends for like home road, whatever. The Knicks just keep hanging in there. Brunson's going to be a little bit extra rested for this game. Him and OG Anunoby both sat today against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I think this New York team is going to be ready and raring to attack the Cleveland Cavaliers, who they beat in the season opener. And the Cavs have kind of just been struggling lately. So I think it's a good opportunity to back New York in a game that they're going to want to win. Obviously, everybody wants to win it, but I do think that New York is going to be able to lock in at home and defend home court in the early game on Christmas Day.
Knicks are 2-5 in their last 7 Christmas games. With Jalen Brunson, they are 1-2 ATS, 2-1 straight up. So they win the game. So you'll be happy, Joe Dellera. They will probably win the game. 5.5 does seem like it's a little bit heavy. You'll hear more about this coming up with Brandon Kravitz, who was on this, and we had a little bit of a back and forth about it. That was pretty good. I will just say it's like everyone liking the Knicks is making it very difficult for me, because I'm having a hard time with why this is not a great buy low spot on the Cavaliers here versus the Knicks. But the Knicks have been resoundingly the better team this season. Like, if I don't get caught up in like, oh, the Knicks have been so good and the Cavs have been so bad, and that's exactly why you got to bet the Cavs. If I'm just like, okay, the Knicks have been really great this season. They've been solid. They've been a professional team, and the Cavaliers have fucked around all season.
Yeah. And I mean, plus too, like if you look at the injury report, right? Like Evan Mobley might not play, or it sounds like he's probably not going to play, right? So when you kind of are looking at that and you're looking at the overall picture for Cleveland in terms of what their health is, they're definitely like just a less healthy team right now. They rolled against the New Orleans Pelicans, but the Pelicans suck. Like that's not really like a surprise here either. So I do think that without Mobley in particular, this makes it a very, very tough matchup against New York. I think that they need him from not only just like a size perspective, but also from an ability to switch, an ability to play a variety of different coverages. And I think that this becomes a very difficult matchup for Jared Allen to defend Karl Anthony Towns. I think I might actually wind up looking at some cat threes because they're probably just going to be in a drop most of the game. So I think it's a good spot for Cat, regardless, given the fact that Mobley's going to be out too.
I might honestly play the Knicks if Darius Garland plays.
Yeah, he's been rough.
He's been so bad. He's been so unbelievably bad. So we'll see how that one shakes out. Okay. My 2-star is going to be Naz Reid over 2.5 3-pointers made. So this line is juiced. I don't mind you if you want to be conservative, just take the over 1.5 at a -200. That's totally fine. You can just do that. That's totally okay. The 3+ is you can get a plus number on that in the market. Pretty hefty plus number on that. Here's the key, and I've talked about it with the Nuggets before. I will talk about it again. The Denver Nuggets surrender the most corner 3-point attempts in the league. Their scheme is built to take away when you drive and kick to that corner, or even if you're running pick and roll and you reverse it to that corner on either side, and then they close out and you kick it up for the extra pass, that's the shot. The extra pass shot is the one they want to take away. They will dare you to make that corner 3, which to me is a little bit insane. A little bit insane. But they're doing that, and this has been a really good go-to spot. I would have been on Max Christie tonight versus the Mavericks. Naz Reid attempts the most corner threes for the Minnesota Timberwolves at 2.6 per game at 39%. A supporting play on Kyle. Guess who's number 2? It's Dante DiVincenzo at 2 per game at 37%. I will probably also play Jaden McDaniels because he winds up in the spot a lot where they're just like daring Jaden McDaniels to beat them, and he will absolutely beat them. So this all leans towards a Wolves play, which I will probably be on. I'll have my full write-up tomorrow on Action Network. Probably going to be on the Wolves money line, especially after the Cam Johnson injury news. This line is holding at 4.5. So you're watching live. You should absolutely grab it because like without Cam Johnson, it's not that Cam Johnson is worth a lot to the spread. He's not. It's that there's a compounding effect with no Aaron Gordon, no Christian Brown, no Cam Johnson. I don't expect Christian Brown or AG back. I'm not going to be shocked if they get upgraded. So you might want to wait on a Wolves play. But if you want to go ahead and grab it at 4.5 without Cam Johnson, it's not too bad. Not too bad. All right. And then my last one is going to be the Golden State Warriors -7.5. I am, Kyle gets to be stubborn about Chet Holmgren. I'm going to be stubborn about the Mavericks suck. I just don't believe in this team. I think that they are like that Pelicans game. I think is a lot more indicative of who they are. I think that win versus the Nuggets was more about the Nuggets completely not playing defense in that first quarter. Nuggets won, I think, every other quarter, and then just came out completely lost and had no defensive effort. Let Ryan Nembhard do whatever he wanted. Ryan Nembhard has 6 games total this season where he is a plus-minus of above 0. 2 of them are versus the Denver Nuggets. I'm not expecting that versus the Golden State Warriors. Their defense is solid. I think this is a good spot. I think this Draymond thing could actually wind up being where it's 2 months from or a month from now, and Anthony Slater for ESPN drops the inside story when the Warriors season was just about to fall apart. Green and Steve Kerr changed everything, and Anthony's a really good writer, so it'll be a really good read. But and then they go on this run. Everybody's like, could the Warriors win the title? Then they don't win the title because they're not good enough to win the title. But I like them a lot in this spot. I'll take Warriors -7.5. I project this at 10. So those are our best bets for the night. So to go over them once again, we've got Joe Dellera likes Anthony Davis over 38.5 points and rebounds. Tari Easton over 11.5 points and rebounds. And of course, the Knicks -5.5. Bing bong. Sean Little likes Spurs Thunder under 233.5. He loves Lakers Rockets over 228.5. And he also has the New York Knicks -5.5. Kyle Murray likes Steph Curry over 32.5 PR. Chet Holmgren over 16.5 points. And a little sprinkle on Dante DiVincenzo 25 plus at 10-1. I like Rockets Lakers over 228.5. Naz Reid over 2.5 3-pointers made. And the Warriors -7.5. Those are your main card best bets. But we got lots more coming up for you here on Buckets. I want to wish Kyle, Joe, and Sean a very happy holidays. Thanks for all your hard work, guys. Really appreciate you. We'll see you guys again next week. But right now, I got Brandon Kravitz, BK Picks coming in hot. We're going to get his best bets right now. Joining us right now is Brandon Kravitz, BK Picks in the Action Network app, at Brandon Kravitz on Twitter. Host of the Favorites program, your favorite podcast and mine. Also, pre and post game for the Orlando Magic. You can catch him in many places. One of my favorite guys. Happy holidays to you, BK. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Busy this time of year. You would think that the Christmas break would be a break, but I feel like we're grinding away just like it's any old other week. So I hope everybody is locked in and ready for some really shitty NFL games and some hopefully fantastic NBA games. I actually think our sport might actually have a leg up here.
Yeah, the games are a lot better here for the NBA than the NFL this season. I don't want to talk about the Chiefs ever again. All right, BK, let's get fired off here. What's your 3-star bet for Christmas?
Let's go with the New York Knicks. Let's start out with a dub to get the day going. -5.5 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Jalen Brunson good and rested for this one, getting a maintenance day on Tuesday. And the Knicks have just been so good at home. I love taking these holidays, and whether it's the NFL or the NBA, so many people are rushing to the sport for the first time. Take what you have seen and what you know, and then apply that on the holiday. 13-3 against the spread at Madison Square Garden this year are those New York Knickerbockers. They're 3-8 ATS anywhere else, or at least on the road. You know, they had their cup situation play out favorably for them as well. But you have the free-falling Cavs on the other side. And yes, they were able to pick up a win in their last outing, but it was still a non-cover for the Cavs against the Hornets. They have failed to cover in 5 straight games. 2-8 ATS in the last 10. The Knicks are just simply a trustworthy favorite. They are the far better team right now. They themselves are far better at home. I think this number is more than fair, so I am happy to start the day by laying it with the New York Knicks.
Okay, I'll save my pushback because I'm sure one of our other hosts has already talked about this on our program. You'll be coming in live here, so I'm gonna save my pushback. I got some pushback on this one. All right, BK. Well, what are your other picks for Christmas? Give your 2 and your 1-star.
Well, I look forward to hearing that because I don't know that I could. I was trying to come up with a way to thwart my own pick because it feels so square to take the Knicks to start the day as favorite.
Look, this is the NBA. Isn't the most NBA thing for the Cavaliers to come in here and everyone be like, oh, the Knicks are going to kill them. They've been shitty this year. And all of it's like, Cavs win 113-107. Like it to me, it's like, oh, I don't know. It feels perilous there, but I get it. I get it because it really is kind of like, look, this number is pretty much set on preseason numbers. Like 5.5 is a good number. It's probably not. It would probably been the look ahead I would bet was much closer. But like, you can argue that the Cavs have not taken enough of a hit on their power rating. I get it. I'm a little concerned.
They haven't. The Cavs have simply not taken the hit that they should. They look like a team that's in disarray right now. And I think that this number should be closer to 6.5 than 5.5. And I don't know if you have it in front of you right now. I'm trying to find it. Wow, ESPN used to be a lot better about this. These two met in the opening game of the season, the Knicks and the Cavs. The Knicks won that game by 8. I think it's far enough away, and the Cavs are bad enough for me to not play the revenge angle here, which I do love to play in the NBA. But I'm curious what that number was in that game, if you happen to have that, because if it's anything similar, then you are actually getting a discount on the Knicks, as crazy as that is to say. I think by the time we tip off, this number will be beyond 5.5.
I can look at it. What are you looking for?
Is the opening game of the season for the Knicks against the Cleveland Cavaliers, what the number was. The Knicks were at home, so it's the same situation here. At home, obviously well rested. That was the first game of the season for both of these teams. The Knicks wound up winning that game by 8, but I'm more curious about what the number was in that one, just for people out there that are wondering how we get to this.
They were 1.5-point dogs.
The Knicks were underdogs?
Yeah, they were 1.5-point dogs at home to the Cavaliers in the
Wow. Maybe we have adjusted properly. I still like the Knicks, but that is fascinating.
I have a trend to make you feel better.
Hit me with it.
Under Kenny Atkinson, the Cavaliers on a 3rd and 4 nights are 2-12-1 ATS, 14% since the start of last season. This is a 3 and 4 spot. So there you go.
Yeah, and final point on this, and I will move on, is we do this with the NFL. If you catch the Favorites podcast, we talked about around Thanksgiving. Every year on Thanksgiving, one of the most casually bet days in a casually bet sport in the NFL, favorites that get a wide load of the tickets from bettors as well tend to cover. You know, Evan Abrams, our stat hound, points this out every single year. There's something about these holidays where chalk, I don't think that you should scare yourself off of chalk if you think it's the right side. That's my final point on the Knicks. Victor Wembanyama over 1.5 made threes at plus 125 or better. Victor is a showman. Every time we need a big Victor performance, we tend to get it, whether it's a season opener, it's Christmas Day, it's in the NBA Cup. He's a spotlight player, and I think this prop is suppressed. Well, it is because of the lack of minutes that he's been getting compared to what he would typically play, but I imagine that ticks up a little bit here because it's Christmas Day, and they've kind of been ramping him up to this moment. And this is a guy who last year, so to speak to the showman angle of Victor Wembanyama, he attempted 16 three-pointers last year in his debut on Christmas. This guy wants to put on a show. He wants to show off his ability, and I know what you guys are thinking out there. Yeah, but OKC's defense. Oklahoma City, in terms of frequency allowed beyond the arc, 28th in the NBA. Accuracy beyond the arc, 23rd in the NBA. This team doesn't let you do anything else, but you can get up some threes. I think Victor Wembanyama knocks down at least 2.
Okay, I like this play quite a bit. I think they're going to guard him more with Jalen Williams, and they won't go to as many of the little guys, so he's going to play more perimeter-oriented. I like this play quite a bit. What's your 1-star?
1-star play for Christmas. We're having ourselves a very square Christmas here at the Kravitz household, laying it with the Knicks, Victor Wembanyama props, and then how about a money line parlay to wet your whistle at the end of the day? Warriors money line, Nuggets money line, plus 105 for both of those home teams to get a win. The Warriors are heating up. They've won 2 straight after dropping 3. Jimmy Butler is engaged right now, which is very important in terms of trusting the Warriors with your good hard-earned American dollars. Veterans tend to get up for these games. They want to show the young guys like Cooper Flagg who the sheriff in town is. Al Horford's expected back for this one as well, so that helps in terms of defense. I was looking at years prior, how well do the Warriors do on Christmas Day? And the answer, Matt, is actually not very good. But usually they're not playing teams like Dallas. Usually they're playing like the LeBron Cavs and things like that. This is not that. The Dubs should get a win here. So I like them. Just take them money line, parlayed with the Nuggets to get a win. Now, why would we bet the Nuggets? Well, they're great. The Timberwolves don't beat good teams. They're 4-8 against the teams in this league that are above 500, 1-3 straight up. If you just isolate it to the top 5 teams record-wise in the NBA, Denver is on an 8-2 heater right now. 5 of their last 6 games have been at home, so this is not a road-weary Nuggets team as well. Jokic against the Wolves, as you well know, Matt, he eats against this team. Last 4 games against Minnesota, over 36 points per game, averaging a triple-double as he does. That's not even noteworthy with Jokic anymore. But I like the Nuggets and the Warriors to get a win on Christmas. Now, I know some of you are probably going to go, oh, I'll throw the Thunder in there too. It doesn't juice it up enough. Don't bother. Just go with the Nuggets and the Warriors.
I like this one. I like this one quite a bit. I've got this at, what's your number on this?
Plus 105.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I've got this significantly higher than that. So I've got this at 61%. So I make this a minus number. I make this minus 156. I've got each of them about 78% to win this game. So not going to hear me complaining. Nuggets have gotten 2 versus now the challenge here I think is the Nuggets have gotten 2 versus the Wolves. The Wolves are going to be, I mean, it's not a must win, but if the Wolves want to be able to finish above Denver, they need this one. And they do not, like, these are division rivals. These are rivals in general, high motivation spot. I don't think Christian Brown and Aaron Gordon are going to be back for this game. If they are, that's going to probably disrupt things because you got to get used to them being back. There's a lot of like warning signs, but winning the game outright, I think the Nuggets have a disappointing record at home, but it's mostly just like the Bulls and the Kings and like random losses. They lost to the Spurs when they were down 2 starters. I think that's like a very good question. I think honestly is like, do you think the Wolves are on the level of the Rockets and the Spurs? And I don't. So I think just slightly below. So I think Denver does get the win here, and then the Mavericks, I still think are terrible. I'm not moved by their performance.
I think the Timberwolves are definitely in a tier below those top teams. And so when you can get them rested at home, locked in, which everybody is for Christmas, these are games where the best talent in the world wants to show off. That's why I don't typically, very rarely, I mean, you can track any pick I ever make is in the Action Network app. I don't throw a lot of money line parlays into the app. It's just not the way that I bet. I like to kind of shoot it straight. But this is one of those days in the NBA where I feel like you kind of know what you're going to get, and you kind of roll with who you trust. And so I'm more willing to do that on a day like Christmas, where it's all, we're not factoring in rest spots, disadvantages, who's going to play, who's not going to play. I mean, we pretty much know these lines have been out there for months now. It's a much more predictable day. So I would just say, for anybody out there that's betting on Christmas, it's, you're not playing the game that we tend to play on buckets night after night, where you're trying to beat a line and all of that. It's much more straightforward than that. It's kind of like the beginning of the playoffs in that regard. So I'm going to shoot it money line favorites with the Nuggets and the Warriors.
Okay, well, I've got some stats to go against what BK said, but you'll have caught those already in this episode, and I'm not going to tell him what it is because I'm going to make him watch the show. That's Brandon Kravitz at BK Picks in the Action Network app, host of the favorites. Check him out on there. Brandon Kravitz, happy holidays, buddy. Thanks so much.
Hey, you don't have to twist my arm to get me to watch buckets, okay? Merry Christmas, everybody.
Keeping the festivities rolling with Michael Fiddle, the maestro of the market, the closing line commander. Just came up with that one. Michael Fiddle at Fiddle's Picks on Twitter and in the Action Network app. You can catch his show daily, breaking down the NBA lines in detail from a market perspective. Nobody's better at looking at the NBA market and telling you which way the lines are going to move, where the action's going to come in on, which way these directions. Like, he has such a great feel for directional NBA movement, and we're glad to have him on Buckets. Happy holidays to you, Michael. You got a 3-star play for me, and I'd love to know what it is.
Yeah, I'm going to start with the first game of the night, or day, actually, 12:30 locals time, which is a main driver in this handicap, but it is the Knicks Cavaliers under 236.5. It is only a matter of time, in my opinion, before that day game under money comes in. And Matt, you know that I'm not a trends better, and I don't rely on the trends, and I honestly can't pull out the numbers of what this record is over the last 20 years, but I understand the situational spots here. and that day game unders are actually a real thing in the NBA. So why are day game unders a real thing in the NBA? It's because NBA players are such creatures of habit. Steph Curry has the same routine where he naps before every game. Tyrese Halliburton tried to start the nap thing and started playing terribly, and he's like, I definitely can't nap. Mikal Bridges has the same Chipotle at the same time before every game. Is Mikal Bridges going to be eating Chipotle at 9 a.m.? What Chipotle is even open at 9 a.m.? So I don't even know how these players are going to maintain their normal pregame routine, which means you come in a little sluggish, you come in a little flat-footed, you come out with not the same efficiency or energy, and day game unders become a trend because these players don't have their normal routines pregame when it becomes a Christmas game at 12:30 local start. So it is an under for me on Knicks Cavaliers. I think I would price this a full point lower at 235.5. And I actually think, considering the trends and the steam chasing and the people that will just naturally bet a day game under blindly in the NBA, sometimes you see multiple of them, especially on Christmas when we change locations and maybe we're in a different time zone and that's another day game under start somewhere else, you're going to see another whack to the under across the board. So I think some of this can be just go a lot further than the numbers in some instances. And so even though these are two high-powered offenses, even though Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year, is not going to be out there, even though Darius Garland and Sam Merrill are both back for the Cavs, which gives them more perimeter scoring and more three-point outlets, I still think this is definitely an under spot, and that would be my best play of the day.
Okay. I've got, based off of the data that I've got available to me, the last 5 years in the start time before 1 o'clock Eastern, overs 4-2. And so that's actually 6 games. So I've got the over at 4-2. And then if we go back further, we're still looking at about a 53% over rate for those early games, which I think is surprising. However, I do think that this is a unique spot with both where the Cavaliers have been offensively as of late, because they've not been as impressive. They are no longer that kind of a team. And I think probably if we looked at Knicks games, we'd probably find a pretty consistent trend of these under spots as well. So I think there's actually probably a lot to this of these early start games. You talking about the players are creatures of habit is so true. Like, it just disrupts absolutely everything. It's why these games are fun to bet on, but it's also just like, it's why you'll see results where you're like, wait, really? It's because nothing is the same, and you can't really quantify it because it's player by player and team by team, and it will change so much with these kind of variables. But I do think it's like an interesting play here at 236.5. That is a sky high, I think, kind of figure for where this game is at. Is an interesting spot here. Where do you think this probably closes at?
So that's what I exactly wanted to get to. The reason why I think late closing lines might be over is because the lines might move too far. So you might see 4-2 towards the over in the last 6 years, but I'd wonder, what that line is on open, because some of these lines historically over the last few years have been moving 5 points or more. So I actually think it'll probably go too far, which is something that I mentioned earlier. There are people who are just going to blindly bet unders closer to post on this line. It's just going to push it artificially too far. I would probably have it around 235, like 235.25. So I would play it under 235.5 or skip it if it's at 235 flat. But I actually wouldn't be surprised if I see it close at like 233.5. And at which point you're like, do I even open the middle and play the under? But I think some of these lines can actually move too far, which is why you'll get a stark difference between opening and closing results, I would assume, if we looked at all that data.
Okay. All right. Michael Fiddle likes the Knicks Cavs under 236.5. That's a 3-star play on Christmas. Mike, thanks so much for your work this year. Happy holidays to you. We'll see you next week on Buckets.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays to all the listeners. And let's get less buckets in this game.
Us by popular demand in the chat, Bryan Fonseca at Bryan Fonseca NY on Twitter, and then on YouTube at Bryan Fonseca. Bryan, fresh off of he was doing work for the Post tonight, so he's on with us last here on Buckets, closing the show out with us. Bryan, happy holidays to you, my man. Glad to have
you. What's awesome, Matt? I love hearing I love hearing only about the bets that don't hit.
Okay.
Where the 3-star bets and the 2-star bets and the 1-star bet.
But
They were 2. No, I'm gonna get this off. They were 2-1 today, and Khalil Ware hooked us with 1-3. But Mamu got 4 threes, way over the 1.5. Tyler Kolek well over the 6.5. He had 8. But I never hear shit about the ones that I get. I only get DMs from losers like this about the ones that miss just because they miss. Like, we never hear about the wins. We only hear about the losses. It doesn't make any narratives true. And also, stop doing parlays. That's not a good idea.
Okay.
As someone who's going to recommend 2 parlays tonight.
Yeah, coming up is our DraftKings parlay. So happy holidays to you, Brian. Appreciate that. Let's do some best bets from you. What is your 3-star bet of the night?
Tupac Christmas sweater, by the way.
Excellent.
So,
Nicely done.
Because you recommended Christmas clothes. Okay. 3-star bet. Isaiah Hartenstein over 8.5 rebounds. This is most definitely going to get to 9.5. Especially because it's pretty juiced right now. So I think with Isaiah Hartenstein, if we're looking at this as an OKC spot, and I have a hard time seeing the Spurs win 3 in a row. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Isaiah Hartenstein had 12 boards today, had 9 in the first game against the Spurs. This is a good spot for him on the glass. Unless OKC obviously just runs rampant offensively, then who knows. But from a rebounds perspective, especially with Wemby not all the way to being Wemby today, they didn't need that if you're watching the game. And Isaiah Hartenstein this season has been really, really good on the glass. It comes down to what minutes distribution he's going to get. And he's going to command probably a decent amount of minutes, considering you're going to need that activity on the glass. Over this in 13 of the 21 games he's played this season, again, including both against the Spurs. And obviously, he generally comes down with the rebounds. Chet, you're looking for him more of a bounce back in the points department, although he can get rebounds too, obviously. So we like that spot for Isaiah Hartenstein here. And I wanted to grab it before it got to 10 or 9.5, and the over would be 10 plus. So like Isaiah Hartenstein here.
I like this play. Especially this goes with our underplay that we had earlier. So we're setting up a pretty nice we got some same game parlays if you want to get on those over at DraftKings, because you can do the under, and then if the under is there with more missed shots, then guess what? There's more rebounds available for Hartenstein to gobble up. And he's had very good games in general. I think as of this season, he's been phenomenal. He's just been terrific, and grabbed 12 tonight. So I like the look there very much for the over 8.5 rebounds for Isaiah Hartenstein. What are your 2 stars?
Just hoping for minutes with Isaiah Hartenstein. 2-star. So I feel you when you said earlier, hey, are we all too high on the Knicks in this game? So this is 2-star and 1-star are smaller plays here. Generally, at what you probably should be doing is the 3-star is obviously the one that I like the most. The 2-star here, I like both of these teams to win. I don't like either of their spreads. Knicks are 5.5. I like that more than OKC. I like it more than OKC, who's 10.5. That one I don't quite get. I understand this should be an OKC bounce back spot. I don't know if it's a smack spot. I think the Spurs are good. And they demonstrated that by being really good in Wemby's absence. So I'm just going straight money line parlay, which is actually plus money right now, with the Knicks and OKC. And I kind of agree with It's Buckets NBA in the comments section, where he says Cavs never cover means Cavs are 2 to cover. I feel like
I can't this is my problem, where I'm like, man, the Knicks should kill them in this game.
They should. They're a home wagon right now. Yeah. They're as good as anyone on their own court. The Cavs, as we talked about in the Buckets episode this weekend, where I mentioned, hey, you could bet them to miss the playoffs at a good number just to add it to your portfolio. I don't actually I don't think they're going to if Donovan Mitchell remains healthy, but it's a bet that I'm worth that I think it's worth taking. But they've played better the last couple of games against softer opponents, but at the same time, are they just gonna get blitzed here? That's the script. The game script is the Knicks like just handle them when we win by double digits, and we're like, oh no, what's going on in Cleveland? Like on a real national level. There's another world where it's like, oh, wait a minute, these are the Cavs we've been waiting for, and the Knicks peaked a little early. What's going on here? So, but I'm still going Knicks money line, and then OKC. I don't think OKC's losing 3 straight to the Spurs. I think the Spurs have found some answers against them, but I think this is a OKC, okay, enough bounce back spot. 10.5 is too much. I even looked at first half. It's like 5.5, 6.5. And I'm like, I don't know about that, but OKC, I think will just get it done in this game. Like, I don't, there's not a lot of science behind that, admittedly. I don't think there needs to be either.
The Cavs have been dogs 3 times this season versus the Miami Heat. They were 5.5 point underdogs in that weird bizarro game.
They sat everybody.
They sat everybody and won. Outright.
Of course, because that's what the Heat do.
They were 1.5 point dogs versus the Rockets and lost by 10. They were 1.5 point dogs to the Raptors, missing a bunch of guys, and they lost by 11. And that's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Recent losses that they lost to Charlotte at home not that long ago, that didn't cover against them again the other night, which I was like, oh man, they really should have covered that 9.5, but didn't. Liam McNeely, couple threes at the end, backdoor cover for those of us who had Hornets plus 9.5. Didn't hear about that in my DM either. But yeah, anyway.
All right. Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson, 30 points. You like
this is the first star parlay. This is the one where it's like, hey, what if Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson just have a shot for shot type of performance? Jalen Brunson rested tonight for people who didn't watch Knicks Wolves. Tyler Kolek did play significantly and damn near got a triple double and shot too much, to be honest with you. But Jalen Brunson will be back and rested. OG Anunoby is expected to play in this one. He also sat tonight. So that's pretty important. I think this is a Donovan, Jalen Brunson potential shot for shot spot. Jalen didn't really kill them as much last game that they played against each other as he could have, but he also shot 5 for 18 and just didn't really have it. But no Evan Mobley this time. I don't know where you're at on the total, Matt, because I missed the beginning of this. But to me, I don't know if this feels like an over spot for the total, but I think for the 2 stars here, for the 2 guards, because, well, the Knicks have struggled on the perimeter defensively this year. Their defense has gotten better, to be clear, especially with OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges gelling. Mikal Bridges is doing less work in terms of guarding the best player on the other team and is playing more safety, so to speak, which we've talked about a lot on the Knicks show that I do at the Post, where he's being used a lot as a help defender in different ways. Now that they've gone away from the double big lineup, although you saw a little bit of that tonight, you see Karl Anthony Towns obviously being attacked a lot on switches still, but he's actually held up better lately defensively, which has been an interesting development. Is that sustainable? I don't know, because he's always going to commit stupid fouls in big spots. It's just part of the Karl Anthony Towns experience. Donovan Mitchell will be looking for him on mismatches, and the onus will be put more on him because they don't have Evan Mobley. Donovan Mitchell's never shot more shots per game in his career, which I think is a little bit worrisome. But at the same time, I like this matchup for him. He has delivered in this matchup also in the past, like several times. And then Jalen Brunson. I think he can really hurt this backcourt, especially if Darius Garland's there. So to me, I'm just for fun. It was like plus 144, I think, or something like that. Donovan Mitchell to get 30, Jalen Brunson to get 30. Why not?
I got a number for you that will support you. So we gave out the under on Spurs Thunder. Sean was on it, and I like that. I like that. However, this trend is worrisome. The last 5 years, the over is 17-8 on Christmas games, 68%. It has been Overville on Christmas. So,
but how much of that do you think is the books or Vegas or just bettors not really recognizing how much scoring there is in the NBA now relative to what we're used to? Because a lot of people start tuning in around this time regularly. You know what I'm saying?
They would still get, because these lines are up for so long, they would still get smoked by sharp books. Even with lower limits, they would still get killed. Like when they open this up, if they have but these numbers, let's say they haven't taken anything big because they may not have. The limits may have been in place.
Mhm.
Like if they still had it, like there are enough sharp books that they would like sharp groups that would just come in and be like obliterate these things, even based off of that public perception. So, okay, all right. So Bryan Fonseca tonight is he's got those 3 plays for us, as you see there on the screen. Over 8.5 rebounds for Hartenstein is his strongest play. Nick's OKC moneyline parlay is like a little sprinkle, and Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson 30 points each is like a lean, because Brian's very particular about his leans.
Yeah, and I don't like recommending parlays to people.
Why do you do this to me? Why do you? I literally am right now.
I'm trolling you. Relax.
Merry Christmas, you suck. We're going to talk about our DraftKings parlay because I have a great one. Check this out. The Buckets Miracle on 7th Avenue parlay. Instead of 34th Street, it's 7th Avenue where the Madison Square Garden main entrance is. Knicks money line, God help me. Spurs Thunder under 236.5. Warriors money line. Rockets Lakers money line over 228.5. And Timberwolves money line. That's one play on each game, and your price is plus 1634. That's brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. All right, we did it. We did it.
1634.
We did 1634. Pretty Merry Christmas.
What's the scariest leg for you in that one?
Knicks money line, 100%. Terrified. Under also because of that trend I gave you where it's 17-8, but like 8 went under, right? It's like every time I do this, I'm like, oh, but it was 17-8. And it's like, yeah, but if you like, you can bet on it and then we'll still go under. Like if you bet on any of these games, the under still hit 32% of the time, one in 3 chances. My thanks to everybody for putting this together. We had so many folks in there. Jim Turvey is the only one we couldn't get in from Roto Grinders. You can follow his plays in the Action Network app. So thankful for everybody from Brandon Kravitz to Joe Dellera, Sean Little, Kyle Murray, Michael Fiddle, Bryan Fonseca, our producer David Payne, who put so much work in, including this as we're getting ready for the holidays. He's going to be producing this episode. Thanks to him so much. I would thank Gifford Gould, but apparently our video producer just decided to take off on Christmas. So Gifford gets no thanks from me. He gets coal in his stocking from this Santa. But I do love Gifford and his work all year long. Thanks for following. Thanks for joining us. Let us know what your favorite bets are in the comments at youtube.com/The Action Network. We will see you again next week. We're taking the rest of the week off for the holiday, but we'll be back at it Sunday night for the Future Jays. Till then, Merry Christmas. Let's get buckets.